परमात्मने नमः। अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः। ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगम् प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्। एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः। सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्दप। स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः। भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्। अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः। कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति। श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन। तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेद परन्तप। अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया। यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्। परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे। जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः। त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन। वीतरागभयक्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः। ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तां तथैव भजाम्यहम्। मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः। काङ्क्षन्त कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः। क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा। चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्यकर्तारमव्ययम् न मां कर्माणि लिम्बन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वतरं कृतम् किं कर्म किमकर्मेति कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहिताः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात् कर्मणो ह्यपि बोधव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोधव्यम् गहना कर्मणो गतिः कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्येत् अकर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृष्ण कर्मकृत् यस्य सर्वे समारम्भाः कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणम् तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गम् नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा त्यक्त्वा सर्वपरिग्रहः शारीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम् यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टः द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते गतसङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानावस्थितचेतसः यज्ञायाचरतः कर्म समग्रं प्रविलीयते ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्धव्यं ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिना दैवमेवापरे यज्ञं योगिनः पर्युपासते ब्रह्माग्नावपरे यज्ञं यज्ञेनैवोपजुह्वति श्रोत्रादीनीन्द्रियाण्ये संयमाग्निषु जुह्वति शब्दादिविषयाण्ये इन्द्रियाग्निषु जुह्वति सर्वाणीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयमयोगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते द्रव्ययज्ञास्तपो यज्ञाः योगयज्ञास्तथा परे स्वाध्यायज्ञानयज्ञाः यतयः संशितव्रताः अपाने जुह्वति घ्राणम् प्राणे पानं तथा परे प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणाः अपरे नियताहाराः प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेभ्येते यज्ञविदः यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजः यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनम् नायं लोकोऽस्त्य यज्ञस्य कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तम एवं बहुविधा यज्ञाः विदता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान् विद्धितान् सर्वान् एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे श्रेयान् द्रव्यमयात् यज्ञात् ज्ञानयज्ञः परन्तप सर्वं कर्माखिलं पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेश्यन्ति ते ज्ञानम् ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम् एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान्यशेषेण द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यतो मयि अभिचेतसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्धरिष्यसि यथैधांसि समृद्धोऽग्निः भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम् तत्स्वयं संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति अज्ञश्चाश्रद्धधानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्त्य न परः न सुखं संशयात्मनः योगजन्यस्य कर्माणं ज्ञानसञ्चिन्न संशयम् आत्मवन्तं न कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय तस्मादज्ञानसम्भूतं हृत्संज्ञानासीनात्मनः चिद्वैनं संशयं योगम् आतिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगो नाम चतुर्थोऽध्यायः।
ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। Harihi Om. Humble prostrations to one and all. Now we enter into the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and the name of this chapter is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. The very essence of this chapter is mentioned in the 18th verse, which says, Karmanya pashyet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayuktah kritsna karma krit. Which means, the one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction, such a person is the wisest among men. Such a person is the perfect performer of all actions. This verse is considered to be one of the most complicated, one of the most confusing verses in Bhagavad Gita. But when we understand the fundamentals of Vedanta, this verse should not be difficult. So let us first see the fundamentals of Vedanta, and for that, let us first define what is known as identification theory. What does this theory say? When entity A identifies with entity B, the properties of B appear to be the properties of A. To understand this theory, let us first see an example, the most famous example given by Pujya Gurudev, the film theatre example. So we all have this experience of watching movies in the film theatre. So as the film unfolds, we get engrossed into the movie. And let us assume that this is a very tragic, painful movie, full of miseries and sufferings. So then what happens? All the characters are miserable, and slowly as we get engrossed into the movie, we also become miserable. We also start crying and weeping. I entered into the theatre as a master, paying for my ticket, choosing my seat. I entered as a master, but very soon I degrade myself to the status of a slave, not having control over my own emotions. So what is the mistake which I have done in the theatre, because of which I degrade myself from the status of a master to the status of a slave? What is the mistake I have done? This mistake is called identification. I identify with the miserable characters in the movie, and soon their misery become my misery. Vedanta says this is the same mistake we are doing in real life also. Vedanta defines two terms. One is consciousness, the other is matter. They are known by various names. Sometimes consciousness is named Brahman, then matter is called Maya. Sometimes consciousness is known as Purusha, then matter is known as Prakriti. So Brahman, Maya, Purusha, Prakriti, Drik, Drishya, Atma, Anatma, Kshetrajna, Kshetra, Chaitanya, Jada. These are all the various names given to these two entities. One is consciousness, the other is matter. Now what is matter? Anything made of 5 elements is matter. What are the 5 elements? Space, air, fire, water, earth, Pancha Mahabhutas. anything made of 5 elements is matter. So therefore, the whole world that we see around is matter. This physical body is matter. The mind and intellect, they are also made of subtle matter. Vedanta says there is only one thing which is not matter, which is consciousness. And what is it? It is the very I in us, the very aham in us. It is the very witness in us, the very observer in us, the very awareness in us. And what is the nature of this consciousness? Vedanta says it is Sat Chit Anand, existence, consciousness, bliss. It is of the nature of infinity. It is the only reality. It is of the nature of immortality. It is bliss absolute. It is perfection incarnate. Vedanta says, oh dear man, that you are Tattvamasi. This infinite reality is your nature. Therefore, Uttishtata Jagrata, arise, awake to this great truth. Naturally, a question may come, if I am infinite, immortal, blissful, etc., why is it that I am not experiencing this truth in me? Then Vedanta says, you are experiencing imperfection today, not because you are imperfect. You are experiencing imperfection because your identification is with the imperfect body, mind, intellect, BMI. Body is imperfect because it has a birth, it has death, it has disease, it has decay, it has old age, it has limitation. BMI is imperfect. When I identify myself with the imperfect BMI, what will be my experience? My experience will not be the perfection of consciousness which I am. My experience will be the imperfection of BMI with which I identify myself. So where is the problem? The problem is with identification. So therefore, what should be the solution? The solution should be disidentification. So Vedanta says, disidentify from what you are not, identify with what you are. Disidentify from imperfect BMI and identify yourself with perfect consciousness. Exactly like in the film theatre, if I have to put an end to all the miseries, what should I do? Stop identifying with the real world. Start identifying with the real world. Stop paying attention to the movie. Pay attention to the real world around you. Look around, you will find that everybody is crying and weeping just like you. Take out your mobile phone, send some messages here and there, play some video games, and you will find suddenly within few minutes all your sorrows vanish. The problem is created by identification, so the solution is disidentification. Puja Gurudev, in one line, he used to define the whole Vedanta. He used to say the whole Vedanta is detach, attach. Detach from what you are not, attach to what you are. This is the whole of Vedanta. Now, an interesting thing. In the film theatre, who is the one who is crying? The one who is watching the movie, he need not cry because the problems are not his. The film character cannot cry because there is no such character. It is an illusory entity, an unreal entity born of the play of light and sound. So the movie watcher need not cry. The movie character cannot cry. Then who is the one who is crying? The movie watcher identified with the movie character, a third entity is born. The real movie watcher identified with the unreal movie character. With this combination of real and unreal, a third entity is born. This third entity is the one who is crying. Now we all know that real can never combine with unreal. If at all there is an appearance of a combination, it has to be illusory. So we come to know this third entity is an illusory entity, and he is the one who is crying and weeping. In the same way, in the real world, consciousness is Ananda Swarupa, it need not cry. Matter is Jada, inert, it cannot cry. Then who is the one who is crying? Consciousness identified with the BMI. A third entity is born. And what is the name of this third entity? This third entity is called sometimes Jivatma, or ego, or individual self, or whatever the name you may give, Ahankara, etc. So real consciousness identified with the unreal BMI, a third entity is born. The name of the third entity is Jivatma. So all sufferings and miseries belong to whom? This illusory entity born out of the combination of real and unreal. This illusory entity called ego, it is the ego which goes through all miseries and sorrows. Please keep this in mind. The moment consciousness identifies with the BMI, Jivatma is born. And the moment Jivatma is born, Karta, doer is born. Bhokta, enjoyer is born. Karma, actions are born. Karma phala, fruits of actions are born. And finally, what is the end result? End result is samsara, transmigration, which is punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, repeated birth, death cycle. This is the end result. The moment identification happens, karta, bhokta, karma, karmaphala, samsara, everything gets added to it. It is like buy one, get 10 free. So therefore, what is the solution? The solution is disidentification. Put in another words, the solution is remove all wrong notions about yourself and know thyself. So what is Vedanta? Know thyself is Vedanta. Know yourself as perfect consciousness. Now, having understood this fundamental of Vedanta, now let us come to this verse. Now, in order to understand this verse, we will have to understand one more property of consciousness, and that is actionlessness. Consciousness lends sentiency to the inert BMI, because of which they are able to function. But this consciousness, by its mere presence, lends sentiency. It doesn't do anything. So one of the property of consciousness is it is actionless. Actionlessness is the property of consciousness. What about BMI? Let us use the term actionfulness. Full of actions. BMI, body, mind, intellect, they are instruments of action. So naturally, instruments of action must be full of action. So let us use the term actionfulness. So on one side we have consciousness, which is actionless. On other side we have BMI, which is actionful. So what does this verse say? This verse says, if your identification is with consciousness, then there is no action, because the nature of consciousness is actionlessness. But if your identification is with the BMI, then there is action. Now let us come to this verse. What does this verse say? Karmani akarmayaf pasye. This is the first quarter. The one who sees inaction in action. So this is the description of a Mahatma. So this Mahatma is immersed in activities. The BMI is fully active, but because he is a Jnani, his identification is with consciousness. So since his identification is with actionless consciousness, what will be his experience? His experience will be akarma, actionlessness. Though at the exterior level, at the outer level, the BMI is fully immersed in activity. So even when actions are being performed, this Mahatma is not doing anything because his identification is with actionless consciousness. This is karmani akarmayaf pasyet. First line. Now the second line. Akarmani chakarmayah. Now this is the line for an ajnani, for an ignorant person. What is he doing? Vedanta says even when he doesn't perform action at the body level, but because his identification is with the body, there is action. So here is this person who says renunciation of action is glorified in Vedanta, so therefore I will not do anything. So he is sitting quietly. All his efforts, with all the effort, he is trying not to do anything. So physically he is inactive. Mentally he is trying not to entertain any thoughts. So there is an effort involved in remaining inactive. He is practicing akarma. Vedanta says, even though externally it may appear to be akarma, actually it is karma only because there is effort involved in practicing akarma. In short, if your identification is with the BMI, there is karma, irrespective of whether body is active or inactive. If your identification is with consciousness, there is no karma, whether your body is active or inactive. So the question is not whether BMI is active or inactive, the question is where is your identification? As far as a Jnani is concerned, even when he is immersed in activities, there is no action because his identification is with actionless consciousness. On the other hand, as far as an Ajnani is concerned, ignorant person is concerned, there is action even when physically he is not doing anything. This is what the verse says. So therefore, how to renounce action, how to practice karma sannyasa. So the name of the chapter is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. How to practice karma sannyasa? So this verse says, renunciation of action, karma sannyasa, is not by giving up action. Renunciation of action is not by giving up action, it is by giving up the identification with the instruments of action. Renunciation of action is by giving up the identification with the instruments of action. It is by giving up the wrong notion that I am the instruments of action. How to give up this identification? How to give up this wrong notion? Jnanena. It is possible only through self-knowledge. So, Jnanena karmanam sannyasah, jnana karma sannyasah. Renunciation of action through self-knowledge. Now this chapter is also known as Jnana Yoga because in this chapter you will find so many topics related to Jnana. The very chapter begins with the description of Guru Shishya Parampara, the Jnana Parampara. Bhagavan says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvakave bravit. Bhagavan says, I gave this knowledge to Vivasvan, the sun god. Vivasvan gave it to Manu. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. So this shows the glory of this knowledge. The glory of self-knowledge is that it has come directly from Bhagavan himself. Also, see the kind of people who are discussing this knowledge. The great ones in the society, the noble ones, the cultured ones, the most evolved ones, they are the people who are handling this knowledge. So this shows the glory of this knowledge. And Bhagavan says, I take avatar in this world now and then, and the main purpose of avatar is to revive this knowledge, because it is this knowledge which has the potential to transform even the greatest sinners into saints. This knowledge has the potential to transform Duratmas into Mahatmas. Such is the greatness of this knowledge. Bhagavan says, whether at the individual level, at the family level, at the social level, at the national level, at the cosmic level, at all levels, if there has to be peace and harmony, if there has to be welfare and well-being, then the root cause is this knowledge. It is this knowledge which is the foundation which gives peace and harmony, welfare and well-being at all levels. So therefore Bhagavan says, Sambhavami yuge yuge. According to the changing times, according to the changing society, I manifest myself in order to revive this knowledge. Bhagavan, how to gain this knowledge? Bhagavan says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. Bhagavan says, in order to gain this knowledge, approach the great masters, serve them, fall at their feet, serve them with all humility, with all surrender, with all love, respect and reverence. And this win their love and affection. And these masters will in turn bless you. These compassionate ones will in turn bless you with this great knowledge. And what are the qualifications of the teacher in order to impart this knowledge successfully to the sincere seekers? Bhagavan says, Jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. These masters who are tattvadarshis, who are themselves well established in this reality, in their direct experience. And also they are jnanis. They have the scriptural knowledge. So therefore they know how to communicate this subtle knowledge to the seekers. So they have the direct experience also, and they also have the ability to communicate this knowledge. Both are necessary. Bhagavan, what is the qualification to gain this knowledge? So Bhagavan says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparas sanyatendriyaha. Those people who have their mind and the senses disciplined. Sanyatendriyaha. Those people who keep this knowledge as the highest goal of life. Tatparaha. And therefore they are ready to pay any price to gain this knowledge. Because they are convinced that liberation is possible only through self-knowledge. Tatparaha. And also Shraddhavan. They have total faith in the teacher, in the teachings, in the scriptures. So such people who have total faith, who keep this knowledge as the highest goal of life to be attained, and such people who have mastered, disciplined their mind and the senses, such people are the fit students to receive this knowledge. Bhagavan, who will not get this knowledge? What are the disqualifications? So Bhagavan says, Ajñascha ashraddadhanascha samshayatma vinashyati. Those people who don't have any faith in this knowledge, those who doubt the teacher and the teachings, those who have no interest in this knowledge, Arjuna, they are not going to get this knowledge. And then Bhagavan goes on to describe various sadhanas mentioned in the Vedas. And finally Bhagavan says, Sarvam karmakilam partha Jnane Parisamapyate. Arjuna, all sadhanas are meant in order to make a person fit for Jnana sadhana. Ignorance of the self is the problem. So the solution has to be knowledge of the self. But in order to gain the knowledge of the self, the mind has to be prepared. The mind has to be purified, concentrated. Chitta Shuddhi should be there. Chitta Ekagrata should be there. All the other sadhanas are meant for Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata, so that the mind becomes fit to receive the self-knowledge. Bhagavan, what are the benefits of this knowledge? So Bhagavan says, Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamah sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrajinam samtarishyasi. Arjuna, even if you are a rank sinner, even if you have committed an ocean of sins, the glory of this knowledge is you can easily cross over this ocean of sins by the raft, by the boat of knowledge. Yathedhamsi samidhognihi bhasmasat kurute Arjuna jnanagnis sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Arjuna, just like a well-lit fire, a blazing fire, reduces a heap of fuel into ashes in no time. In the same way, this fire of knowledge reduces all your karmas done from the beginningless past into ashes. Because what does this knowledge do? It puts an end to Jiva Bhava. And all the karmas, whether Sanchita, Agami, Prarabdha, all these karmas are hanging on to this Jivatma. This knowledge puts an end to Jivatma. And once Jivatma is gone, all karmas are also gone. To make this clear, Puja Gurudev used to give a beautiful example. Suppose there is a criminal who has committed a lot of crimes and so many cases are pending in his name. But suppose in an encounter with police, he is shot down, he is killed. Then what happens to all these pending cases? All these cases have to be discarded. Because the person who is associated with all these cases, he is no more. So in the same way, once the Jivatma, Jiva Bhava is gone, the ego is gone, all the karmas are also gone. Puja Guruji used to make a beautiful statement. He used to say, the glory of this knowledge when compared to other sadhana is that all the other sadhanas, they destroy only the sins. The glory of self-knowledge is that it destroys the very sinner. And once the sinner is gone, who is there left in order to commit sins in the future? This chapter then goes on to describe the characteristics of a Mahatma. A person who has gained this knowledge. Such a person becomes free from ragadvesha, kamakrodha, ahankara, mamakara. He may be very much involved in social service activities, but all these karmas don't taint him. He is a Jivan Mukta, a liberated sage while living. And what is his vision of life? His vision of life is beautifully mentioned in the famous verse which normally we chant while taking prasad. And the verse is, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaevatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. What is the vision? What is the vision of life as far as this Mahatma is concerned? He sees only Brahman and Brahman alone. According to him, there is only my own self and nothing else exists. This is his vision. This Advaitic vision is the very culmination in the journey of spiritual perfection. This Mahatma gains. I sincerely invoke the grace of the Lord and the blessings of the entire Guru Parampara. May we gain this knowledge, get established in the self, and be free in this birth itself. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.